when you see us talking and being super serious, goats are eating our pants and shoelaces the entire time. And there's no, like, getting them to stop.
Welcome back, Marcus. Been a minute.
As we join Mark in season 2, his Innie now knows about his wife. How is he dealing with that at the start of the season?
Yeah, well, the Innie found out this explosive piece of information in the finale. Obviously, that was the big cliffhanger. So, yeah, we're kind of picking up right where we left off, and he's just trying to figure out what to do with this information. I mean, I think, we're talking early on about, like, what Mark's first instinct would be. It ends up that it's just to run and try to find Miss Casey. I don't think he knows whether he is going to tell her the information, see if she knows something. I think he's just trying to find her because it's like it just happened. And also, he doesn't know if the Outie is aware of this, and if not, how to get that information to his Outie. But I think the path that's right in front of him is just to try and figure out what to do with this information.
I gotta get her out of here.
Season 1 was about it. We saw him become disillusioned with Lumen, but I think he felt he had hit the ceiling of how depraved this place could be, and then finding this piece of information kind of blew the roof off. And I think it's beyond his imagination that someone could do something this horrible.
Yeah, and as you said, like, he's also wondering about his Outie's take on things. Like,
yeah.
It's interesting because, Dan, like, the Innies and the Outies aren't really the same characters across the board, or are they?
That's something that we talk about almost every day, and kind of have different answers depending on the specific case and context, because it gets to sort of the central question of the show, which is, who are you, and what makes you who you are? Is it nature? Is it nurture? Is it some combination of the two? We see characters who have the same body and the same brain and the same physiology, but they express their sort of inherent traits very differently because of their vastly different life experience. And that's true of every severed character, and in some cases the unsevered characters, because it's something that we do too. We're all different people in different situations.
Sometimes I'm wondering if it's like the non-severed characters are secretly severed and we don't even know it yet. Like is Milchick severed and I just haven't figured it out yet? Britt, so on that note, are you going to tell me right now?
No.
Britt, on that note, so I think Helly and Helena we have seen the most, perhaps, of your Outie in some ways, or the differences between your Innie and your Outie as of the end of season 1. How do you approach that in terms of playing those two different versions of the same person?
Well, in season 1, I spent a lot of time as Helly R wandering around Lumen, being like, what the hell's going on, and why are these people acting so weird? And then season 2, I had the wonderful delight of stepping into the shoes of the people who are acting so weird and seeing it from their perspective. So yeah, these are two parts of the same person who are clearly at odds with each other. And in season 2, they both evolve and they start to have, there's a bleed through, I think, a little bit that happens because of the shared subconscious, because of the ways in which our bodies store the trauma and joy that we experience. It's like PD said in season 1, like you still feel it down there, you just don't know why. And so we start to see all of the Innies and Outies start to have that little bleed through, and that was the kind of exciting part of season 2, was figuring out the nuances of that.
It's interesting too, without giving anything away about season 2 right now, but as a viewer, I start to wonder, like, how good of a person is Helly, for example, or we think of her as a good character, but then it's like, oh, but her other side is like not always so good,
I have to have a lot of empathy for Helena, because we met her dad at the end of season 1, and that guy is pretty strange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is true.
So
I like him. I think he's
your friend. I mean, look,
completely fine.
Chill guy.
What's the problem?
He's based on like how you are normally, kind of, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like
we base,
my deal.
We base James on Adam Scott.
That's right.
So Zach, Dylan is interesting. His Innie in that he knows that he has a family on the outside. How is that going to affect him in the new season?
I think it affects him quite a bit because, before he learned that, he had all these stories he would tell himself about who he might be on the outside, and they were sort of like fantastical, and it was almost this like self-mythologizing he did, and I think that was kind of a big part of his self-conception, and it gave him a lot of confidence, and then he finds out he has this family, and that changes everything about how he thinks about himself and what he wants and how he operates.
We all kind of do that too, don't we? Self-mythologize a little bit.
Yeah, and then sometimes those myths are shattered, and you then have to go, okay, well, now who am I?
Right. Yeah. So Tramell Milchick has a expanded role this season. Can you hint at what he's going to be up to in season 2?
He's got to clean up the mess he made in season 1. I mean, I let him know that he has a family, so I'm like,
Yeah.
oops, I got to clean all that up. I think the stakes are higher in the new season of what the information that he has shared with the Innies inadvertently, and they have taken over the gala, and all of this is on his head. He's got to figure it out.
It's interesting with him because he is such a company man, or at least he seems like one. For him to feel that he screwed something up can't be a good feeling.
No. I mean, he's devoted to Lumen. This is his life, And, if you upset your family, you do something out of place, you got to fix it.
Yeah.
So I think he doesn't take it too well.
Also, if Cobell is indeed fired, like they said they were going to do in the finale, then someone's got to step up and take her place down there.
And I guess if you're a good company man, you can't really feel guilty about replacing your boss, right? It's just the natural chain of events, right?
Well, it's kind of complicated. I mean, Milchick and Cobell have a interesting relationship. I always see it that Cobell was a mentor for Milchick. She helped him get to where he is, and he learned so much about Lumen and the mythology, the corporate speak, if you will, through Cobell. So, when she walks away, when she's pushed out, and he has to be the one to exit out, that's a complicated place to be in.
I locked you in a room like an animal, Mark. As an unsevered man, I'll carry that knowledge the rest of my life.
Miss Wang, she's sort of the new Milchick in some ways. I mean, it's a new character being introduced who's sort of running the floor secondary to Milchick. What is it like for you guys acting against a child who's acting as an adult?
Mark W.
Why are you a child?
Because of when I was born.
Sarah's fantastic. I mean, she stepped in to this world and to this show, and she's, obviously a young actor. I think she was 15 when we started. Was she 15 or 16?
Yeah.
And she just met us. She's just terrific from the very start, just excellent, and really relaxed and confident. She's great on the show. I think we're so lucky to have her.
Do you guys forget that she's a kid at times?
Well, she would sort of accidentally remind me how old I was. I'd mention The Simpsons, and she'd go, "Oh, is that the yellow cartoon?" You're like, "Yep, that's the yellow.
Is that the ancient yellow cartoon?"
Right. Yeah. It's still on the air. Yeah. But what was your thinking in terms of bringing in a character like that?
Well, there's a lot of reasons why Lumen would do that. Not all of which have been revealed yet, but everything that they do is kind of a head game, And I think that part of the one thing about bringing in a child to a role like that is it's kind of hard to hate a child, although some may disagree. But they bring in this character that sort of her very presence. You're like, well, you almost want to be protective of this person, We see Dylan at one point is sort of trying to question whether she's okay, whether her situation is all right, and but at the same time she's management. She's on that team, and she's somebody that they have to watch out for too. And so it puts them in a really, I think nobody quite knows how to deal with this character, and it sort of throws them off their game. But the other fun thing that is specific to the world of this show is that experientially she is older than them, because each of these severed characters, they're at most 2 years old. And so, she's a kid, and yet in some ways she's older than them, and it's all throwing them off and making them feel increasingly like they don't know what's going on or how to respond.
So we definitely are going to see some new rooms this season. Can you hint at any, Adam, anything that was particularly weird or?
Well, I mean, I think there's the goats, the baby goats, kind of figured prominently in season 1, and Helly and Marcus get to kind of go and venture towards where those baby goats we saw last season may have come from.
Were you working with real goats? Are they CGI?
No, they're all robots.
Are they severed?
Yeah, every single one of them.
I'm raising one in my house right now.
The thing that would happen, though, when we're working with goats is that no matter what we're doing, we had like an actual scene, Britt and Gwendolyn Christie and I, where we had to sit and have a scene, talk to each other and shoot coverage and the whole thing the entire time because we're, out in the open with goats. When you see us talking and being super serious, goats are eating our pants and shoes the entire time. There's no getting them to stop.
So that's the thing. That's not just from a Bugs Bunny cartoon. They actually do that.
Yeah. It turns out Bugs Bunny was real.
So Tramell, you there as two figures who are on sort of the opposing side of the Innies, Milchick and Natalie have some things in common. I would say. Can you speak a little bit about what their relationship might be like moving forward?
They're connected based on their ambition. They're both very ambitious. They're both very young in the company, and they moved up high. I think because of their identification, their identity, they realize that they are different from the corporate structure that Lumen has and embraces. And so they're navigating that space and how to exist in that space, and also start to learn as they navigate further through Lumen what Lumen's response to their presence in this company as well.
Mrs. Coble isn't around quite as much in season 2. Dan, can you tell me a little bit about she's another one who it feels like her life is Lumen. Can you tell me a little bit about what your plan for her is moving forward?
Well, we wanted to, we had gotten to know her so well in the context of her role in the company, which seems to be, very much what her identity is about. And then we had gotten to know Mrs. Selvig, which is this strange persona that she had created, which always felt a little bit to me like kind of her cosplay of humanity. She's this is kind of her best approximation of what a human being acts like outside of Lumen. And those are both masks, both of those are sort of characters that she's had to play for various reasons. And so I really wanted this season to try to pull back all the masks a little bit and see what's at the core. And, there's still a lot of mystery left to uncover with her. There's still a lot we don't know. But I really wanted to... It's funny, I started thinking of her... With all these characters, I reach a point where I start thinking of them in terms of their first names. And I was like, I want to know Harmony. I want to know... I want to know Harmony just in my life as a concept, but I also want to know the character of Harmony Cobell.
Right.
Because she's, it seems like she is somebody who has never been able to fully answer that central question of the series, which is, who are you? I don't know that she necessarily knows that. And so she's on a journey of figuring that out, and we're right there with her.
Yeah, because it seems like she's the worst example of a person with poor work-life balance. Right?
That seesaw doesn't move. It's all on one side.
Yeah.
Welcome to Lumen, Helly.
For more on maintaining that perfect work-life balance, we'll be covering Severance throughout the new season, including a spoiler chat with the cast in a few weeks. So be sure that both your Innie and your Outie like and subscribe to IGN wherever they watch.